take it off hand. I believe there is that great source out there which I came from. I mean, if I don't believe there is the source of me, then my existence is meaningless. My existence is a lie. My existence is fake. I'm something that, nobody will know where I come from or where I am. But I'm a physically solid person that can be touched. I definitely have a beginning. And that beginning is not just in the sense of where I was born. Everybody was born. But in the human, because I'm part of a human race. The human race have a beginning. We've lost that beginning, and that's what we want to find. That is where God is. And the end also, if there is an end, death is there for us. But that is also where God is. We want to find out where we began the whole journey we started from. If we die, is that the same place we end up? Do we go back there? It's told that you are brought from the ground. Because eventually we have some obvious evidence that when one dies, we put them in the ground and bury them. So definitely that means that we came from the ground. In the Bible, it suggests the same thing. In the Quran, I'm sure it suggests the same thing. These two parties have got their differences, but there are certain things basic things that they agree on. And in previous tapes I've reviewed all those things. So the current situation where both the books are presenting the idea of God, and I'm saying that the definition that they have presented, that they already say, that they already acclaim, does not tally with the words and the presentations that they have in the book. This is my point. This is my reason of all this video. This is what I am trying to prove out, that at the end of the day, despite whatever somebody verbally tells you about Quran or Christianity, it is the imitated session of what the real thing is. The real thing about you, what is inside you, that tells you that there is an existence of there's some great existence of which you came out of. That is God. Your idea of believing is God is not the end of it. But these suggestions that we have is just the same as the ways of the pagan and all that. But this is much more bigger, huger. These have been exalted so high that they have got a more admired state of influence on people. The Quran and the Bible. And there are also the Buddhists also are quite very influential. They also have got their approach, which is more of developing the human body, but in a godly manner. They have so many different types of karma, and Buddhism comes in so many ways. They also have their idol way of worship and idolic way of worship. So it's it's in so many grounds. But with the Quran and which I've looked into a bit in my life, is what I want to sort of suggest, that it is an imitation because of the words in there, because of the presentation. There's the fake thing of the real thing that we should expect, or we are expecting. And that is the whole thing. Now, what am I going to say this? I'm proving it from the book gradually as you listen to the quotations. I don't think the source from which I came from, knowing him to be perfect, or knowing that to be perfect and great and magnificent, omnipotent, omniscient, and all that, which the Bible agrees with me on that sense, because that idea of omnipotent and omniscience, that's where I got it from. I wasn't born with the idea of omnipotent or omniscient. I knew it from these books. So there are some things that I have held on to. Those are the basic things that even the book should stand on as a core thing. But as we say now, it's just a book. It's been presented by people who probably are then a God. Whether their mistakes are going to live upon us the rest of our life is entirely up to us. We have to discover the mistakes. If Einstein did a mistake in his calculation of formula, and today we've been using it, I'm sure the correction can be done. I have learned recently, whilst we have a formula or procedure of using or calculation maths and all that, with all the signs and equations, using board maths, which is BODMAS. Now I've realized that it's changed, which is the changes from somewhere just in the 80s, right from the late 70s to the 80s to the 90s. Just 2000, it has been changed to what? BIDMAS. BIDMAS. The O has been changed to BID, B-I-D instead of B-O-D. And that's some of the examples, some of the real things that we as a group, as a a generation, discover every day in our life. The new things that comes up, how we can improve our lives and make it better. And that's the same thing I think this video is about. It's not meant to be taken out of context. The idea of a fake God, the idea of a false God, must be able to be recognized by an individual or by a group or by the race of human beings, and exposed in a sense, not in an evil way. It makes you look evil yourself. So, but in a sense of correction, and getting the better things that we need. I mean, there is no other way to correct it. If you correct it, then your words that you have passed on becomes like all this time is deception. And maybe that is the issue that they cannot stand. All people who have held on to, I feel ashamed to sort of talk about. I'm also ashamed too. I have a Christian background. I can say I'm virtually Christian. But I'm not ashamed. Why should I be ashamed? There's nothing to be ashamed of. I didn't invent it. I didn't write it. I didn't make it. I also got hold on to it, just like everybody else. I embraced it. But the idea of something, knowing that there is a God, is something that you naturally developed it. It's some suspicion that is there. Even the atheists have their own suspicion. The scientists have their own suspicion, whether they believe or not. That is what they do all the science research for, to find out, develop how the human being came about. Where did it come from? So definitely the idea of the scientists believe that something is there, and always they pursue to find that something. So also is religion. Something is there, they pursue to find it. But religion has defined itself it has already got a conclusion to say that the answer is spirit, because the book tells us so. And when they found that book, or when they came about the book, they said, "Oh, that's the answer." But if we have to remember that these are coming from days where some people just like us, were living a generation before we ever came, and they have their doubts, and they had their time when they pursue whatever. Death, cruel things took place in this regard. So they may have all these writings. Now, not even them, according to even the story, truly or in every way, sort of have 100% sort of believe in what they had before them. They were only looking out for what will happen all the time. They were looking out all the time. So I'm sure today is the same thing. But the idea, I can't stand the idea of pretense and let's pretend this is what this is about. Let's pretend this is true, so that we can get people to come in and be part of it and participate. Why should you pretend something which is not true? Pretend to be true. I have lived all my life with the image of Jesus Christ, to be a man probably today sitting in Hollywood drinking, or maybe somewhere doing something, and that picture that has been taken, that my parents or me myself might hang on the wall or might see in a book somewhere, is not the man. It's not Yehoshua. It is not Jesus. It is not him. But there are ignorance among us. There are others who haven't got a chance to study, who probably have not got a chance to know anything at all. They live for the rest of their life believing that what they have heard, what they have seen is true. They live their life, and there is nothing you can do to stand their way. Immediately you go to talk about this, you become the devil. They believe, oh, this person is horrible. He wants to ruin our life. He doesn't believe in God. He wants, And that person who is saying that probably can have an evil spirit himself. Could be a witch. Because I believe that knowing the state of this book and what I'm discovering every day, I know that there is some strong influential, spiritual influential backing or influential encouragement coming from the forces of spirit. They could be in the dark. Well, most, I think, say witches and wizards can easily back it up, because they know. They have got the eyes. They can see further than as a normal human being will see. They know the complications that this book has got. They can sense it. They see the power behind the book. They see it as something which is really there for them, and it is just a matter of time for it to emulate, for it to sort of reflect or somehow